Norway just introduced a new bill that requires influencers to mark their sponsored posts if they were edited or even just using a filter. And if they don't, they could face a fine or even jail time. Dozen everyone, my name is Wong and I'm a photographer, so this definitely caught my attention. Earlier this month, Norway just passed a regulation, part of their Marketing Control Act, that requires a clear statement for all paid posts if there's a change in body shape, size, or skins that is changed by retouching or other manipulations. While I understand the reasoning behind this law, I really don't think that is the right approach. In fact, I think it will do more harm than good. Let me explain. I did try to look more into it, but since I can't read Norwegian, I can only use Google Translate on the official website. But I feel like even if I can read Norwegian, I don't think it will provide me with a lot of answer, considering laws like this are usually very vague. Sometimes it's on purpose, and sometimes it's just governments cannot keep up with technological advancements, so they don't know how to implement laws for them. And we saw a great example of that a few years ago when US Congress was trying to do a testimony with Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook.
Well, so how do you sustain a business model in which users don't pay for your service?
Senator, we run ads.
The bill states that this only affects paid posts. Does that mean regular posts are not affected at all? Now, what about celebrities that are not paid to do the post, but they were in a movie and they got paid to be in that movie? Does that count as a paid post when they promote their movie? And what about every brand account that has a paid employee, a social media manager, that make posts every single day? And what if Star Wars decide to pay me to promote their latest movie by posting their movie poster, and that poster definitely is edited? Do I have to label that it's retouched? What about restaurant or shop that give you free stuff if you make a post on social media? Is that considered a paid post as well? It is very unclear what is considered pay in some situations. Now, let's talk about content manipulation. Technically, any changes that is made to photo or video content is considered a retouching change. Even something as simple as increasing the exposure, that could make people's skin glow. And since most camera, including the iPhone, can shoot raw format photos, so changing photos from RAW to JPEG, is that considered a manipulation? Is that like retouching? Who does this law affect? Is this law only applicable to a Norwegian citizen? Or does it affect any influencer that works with a Norwegian company? Now, I don't want to focus too much on the nitty-gritty details about this law. I want to talk about how this is not the right answer to combat the harmful effects of unrealistic beauty standards on the mental health, which is what they're trying to do. For example, if this law only affects Norwegian citizens, then a lot of companies just might not want to work with Norwegian influencers, because most companies want to do things easier and or cheaper. Just like how we see everything are made in China, despite the fact that most countries can make the same things themselves. Also, Norway's population is only a bit more than 5 million. It's not really an issue for most companies to not work with Norwegian influencers. Norwegian citizens will still consume social content, except most of the content will be created by influencers that's not from Norwegians. So this won't really help the Norwegian citizens, but it would definitely hurt Norwegian influencers. Let's talk about why people use filters. Most people think that filters are just to make people look prettier, which does happen, but that is not the only case. For example, some people might change the color of their hair just for fun, or some people might use filter to change the way they look because of a certain disability. But what this law didn't account for is people that can afford to buy makeup, or people that can afford to hire makeup artists, or to even have cosmetic surgery. People can change the way they look even without using a filter. And what if it backfires? The people that can afford those things might start gloating about how they do not need to use the filters in their photos and in their videos. So it would actually hurt the people with lower socioeconomic status, because they might use unhealthy ways to achieve the same look, and that would definitely not help their mental health. Okay, so let's say, for example, for some crazy reason, this law got very popular and every single country start adopting it. Then you're gonna get a California Prop 65 situation. For those of you who are not from the sunny state of California, this is a state proposition that requires all businesses to have a sign if they have a certain chemical percentage. They have to put this up. But the problem is, this chemical is produced when amino acids or sugar is heated up. Almost anything that you cook will have this chemical. So that is why you will see this sign everywhere you go in California. And I mean everywhere, literally everywhere. Every coffee shop, every restaurant, even Disneyland has them. Because businesses don't want to get fined. And because of that, people don't really care for it. They kind of just ignore it. And the same thing is gonna happen if the government's forcing people to label their photos or videos. Unfortunately, I don't really have a simple solution to this problem, especially since I was growing up in a generation where we did not have smartphone, to the point now where I cannot do my daily job without a smartphone. And since this law only focuses on paid posts, it's not really gonna affect how people consume the majority of their content from influencers. Now, I think what we really need to do is focus on education. Especially educating young people about what they see on the internet is not always real. And most of the time, it's only a glimpse of people's life. And more importantly, educating them on how to process that information. It's not like most of them don't know that filters is a thing and people are using them. So we need to catch up on social media education in school. Just like how the government need to be up to date about technology advancement. Don't get me wrong, the intention of this law is good. I fully support the heart of it, just not the execution, because it targets the symptoms but not the root of the problem. Let me know what you think about this law. Do you agree with what I've just said, or do you disagree? Or you have a completely different opinion about this? Leave a comment down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see my latest update. And I'll see you in the next video.